Hello, my Teaserking family. Hopefully, this time the internet won't fuck up and we'll be able to do a pretty good thing. I don't know if it's slow because it's cold outside or what. Uh, it's a very slow YouTube right now, or it's my computer. Hello, my Teaserking family. I see it still being slow and still with internet issues. All right, we'll try it again. Okay. Seems to be slow, but maybe it's working. I don't know. It's got to settle down. There, it just settled down. Okay, how's everybody today? Here it is. I just did a video and it got interrupted. And after last time, I lost an hour. I didn't want to keep speaking and then lose it. Seems like there's a lot of YouTube videos by our fabulous morons. Oh, gold's about to go up, silver's about to go up. The only way that happens is if COMEX blows up. Gold can go up because of COMEX. It's up today, doing very well. It's at $27.49, up $40, and silver 30.78, up 32 cents. This is why you'd rather buy gold. You get $40 on your ounce. However, in silver, you can buy 100 ounces versus, so it goes up 32 cents. You make more money, but you got to buy more ounces. So gold's making its move. I missed by a day. I said by the end of the day, Friday it'd be 27.50. Now it's 27.49, basically. So a lot of chatter about gold will go, but not from our normal Egon and, well, I don't know what Mark McGuire's doing, but not seeing Egon. Well, I see Egon videos a lot. We already know what Egon does. It's going to go up exponentially very soon. February 1st, Trump signs in these tariffs. Now, the problem with tariffs, as I said, the market determines prices, right? There's a New York strip. It's $10. We buy it. It's $20. We go, no, it's too high. It's not a fair trade. We don't do it. A market, again, is if I sell this, somebody wants to buy it. There has to be a buyer and a seller, and that's a market. But what's happening? So I can only sell it for what the market will bear it. So if they say, hey, I'll give you $1,000 for it, but not $2,000. I can't sell it for $2,000 if there's no buyers. But if I try to sell it for $1,000 and there's buyers, that's the market. That's what it's worth, is what somebody will buy it for. And there's several markets for the same. There's several markets for Montana's rookie card, or a Lawrence Taylor rookie, or Tom Brady, and all that. Again, as we know, it's COMEX's derivatives. It's JP Morgan doing the derivatives, keeping the price down. It's not a real price. It's a fake paper price, totally illegal. They should all go to jail, except they're the ones who make the jail, right? They're the ones who would prosecute you, but since they run the government, they don't do that. So understand that even though we know gold and silver are worth a lot more than they're showing, and they're keeping the price down, and it's one of two reasons: either they don't want us, they want to keep us in the stocks and the bonds and the banks because they all make a fortune on our money, or China and Russia want to buy it cheap. And I think it's a combination of both. I think they keep the price down for China and Russia to buy it, and they keep the price down. So we go, it's not doing anything. I'm going to get out. Now, I've heard that from one coworker today, and then on these Yankee Doodle Dandy and all these other idiots who run silver stores say, well, yeah, everybody's selling their silver. Well, that's nothing. That does not affect the price. As I said, I could buy 10 tons of silver or gold, and it wouldn't affect the price. The price is not controlled by that. It's controlled by the derivatives. So that's the first thing these idiots don't understand. That's how the price moves, derivatives, and that's it. And with the gold, the Russia and China take delivery of the derivatives, and that's why the gold price has been going up because they're taking delivery. And when and only when they run out of gold to do the derivatives, because they can't do it without the gold, that's when it explodes. Silver, it's a little bit trickier, but they're 4 years behind. They still haven't stopped it. So silver will happen, but again, it's going to be in a little bit. We've got to let COMEX blow up. So when they don't have the physical, then COMEX blows up, and that's close to it. Actually, it's already there, but they're still, for some reason, able to do it. Again, it's China and Russia buying it all up. I wonder why. And that's the point. So in a market, Trump doing tariffs. Well, we know what happened in 1929. You had a depression because you raised the prices of the goods over market. So the market, the farmers are selling corn and wheat and everything to the rest of the world. And they can afford $10, let's say, for a basket of wheat. But the tariffs that FDR put in, or it wasn't him, it was Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, 1930. When they put it in, what ended up happening, it drove the prices over market. So now everybody who's buying it says, I can't afford it. I can afford 10, I can't afford 20. And so it backfired, and then they couldn't sell, and all the banks went out because the banks loan the money to the farmers, and as the farmers sell their goods, they pay the banks back. Since they can't sell their goods, the banks went out, the farmers went out because they couldn't sell their goods. And it's just a domino effect. And this is the problem with tariffs, and this is what we're going to run into with Trump. Hard to believe his guys can't tell him this, or he thinks the tariffs will come in instead of income tax. Oh well, we won't charge out. We'll make our money on tariffs as if nothing will happen. But you're over market, and you can't be over market. You can't sell a steak. The steaks are $10 for New York strip, and you make them 15, and nobody wants to buy them. That's the problem. And if nobody will buy it, you can't sell it. There's no market. So you've got to reduce your price. As I tell you with the Camry, went to 35,000. He says, I can't sell it. I go, because you're over market. Then he lowered the price back down to 27,000, and he's able to sell again. You can't go, you've got to understand your market. You got to understand what people will pay for it. You can't just raise prices and think people will still buy it. They won't, because they only have so much money. And with all the inflation, I got 20 below here, so I got my heat on and my lights, and the food a little more expensive. I went to barbecue yesterday to what, I went after swim, and then I got my chicken and ribs, and then I ate half yesterday and half today, and they raised their price $2. It was 22 for the combo, it's now 24. All right, nothing too big, but you're getting there. There used to be 18, 19 for the combination. So he's coyly raising, but if I'm working, I can afford it. If I'm not working, I can't. So Trump's got to be careful. The tariffs, 25% tariffs, he's going to kill a lot of business. And he thinks, well, we'll just manufacture it at home. Well, yeah, but if you raise the competition, so if I'm selling whiskey at $50 a bottle, and all of a sudden you put tariffs on the competition, and now the competition's at $70 and I'm at 50, what do? I raise my price to $69 because I know the competition can't come in at the $50 I'm at. So you kill the economy, you kill the consumer, because we sit there going, we can't afford this. There's limits on what you can spend. Now, you might throw it on your credit card and not care, but you do have to pay the credit card back every once in a while. So that's what's going on. So his tariffs are going to be a big problem. there was things that Biden pardoned his whole family and Fauci and all these idiots, all the criminals in the government. He pardons them all. Well, why did you pardon your family? Well, you never know. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Not only does Biden not have any credibility, which he never did, but you can't allow people above the law. You can't allow them to commit crimes and be pardoned for it. That's just, I don't know where that is. That how can you have the Constitution that says if you commit a crime, you got to go to jail or you got to pay for it. But yet here's this thing. Well, they committed crimes, but we'll pardon them. What kind of horseshit is that? So I don't know why. I know why he did it, but I don't know why that's even in there. And then what can Trump do? Can they go after his family and Fauci and all these people who did a lot of damage to this country? So we'll see. They're all a bunch of criminals. This is who we elect, right? We put criminals in the government, and we wonder why the government's so corrupt. Anyway, the FX rate I keep with Daria with Russia and the ruble was 110 early January. Is now down to I think it was down to 99 today. So it keeps dropping to the ruble, and then the Russian bank will give her. It was 110. They were giving her 98. It went down to 102. They were still giving her 98. Finally, today it went down to 95 because the FX rate dropped to 98. So it seems to be about $3 or $4 cheaper than what's on. If you go on to Google FX rate, it's a little bit cheaper. Which leads me to this quick thing here of how do they come up with FX rates? And you'll get a kick out of this. It's price fixed. What else is new? How is the FX rate between countries calculated? All right, you ready for some more bullshit? The FX rate between countries is primarily determined by the supply and demand for each currency on the international foreign exchange market. But it isn't, where banks and other financial institutions trade currencies, with the rate fluctuating based on factors like economic conditions, interest rates, political stability, and market sentiment in each country involved. Essentially, the more demand there is for a currency, the higher its value relative to other calculations. So you think, oh, well, maybe it's supply and demand, but it's not. The core principle of supply and demand is that when demand for a currency is high relative to its supply, its value increases against other currencies and vice versa. Factors influencing exchange rates: interest rates, economic growth, inflation, political stability, and trade balance. Well, it's all bullshit. Inflation is not a percentage. Political stability, it's all corrupt. Trade balance has nothing to do with it. So basically, it's bullshit. It's so we're trying to, I give Darius some money and I go, oh, the exchange rate's up to 110. Oh, you'll get it. So if I give you $100, you'll get 110. You'll get 10,000. Oh, there you go. She says, no, my bank gives me 98 or 99. So it's kind of irrelevant, there's really no correlation to it, but there is. So it's sometimes it'll be 110, it'll be 98. Sometimes it'll be 102, it'll be 98. So it doesn't go exactly, but when it went to 98, then the Russian banks went down to 95. So there's a breaking point when the Russian banks will drop. It's not like it'll go to 100 and then the FX rate's 98. At least I haven't seen that yet. So she gives it to me every day. I go on Google, look at that FX rate and trying to correlate it. There's a little bit of correlation, but not a lot. But she's not getting the FX rate that's on Google. That would be posted, right? And that's the key to it. It's freezing there as it is here. So She said, "I'm just inside under a warm blanket watching TV." And I says, "I don't blame you. I'm doing the same thing here, except for now." Um, so you have a lot of these silver guys on YouTube. All say, "Oh, it's gonna grow. It's gonna go." As I said, they don't know what they're talking about. It's not gonna go until Comex lets it go, or until it's not priced by Comex. For some reason, people have a really hard time understanding that fact. I mean, it's $30 and what, 80 cents silver right now. I believe that's what it was. I think that's what I said, 30.78 or something like that. Um, yeah, 30.75, and we've got almost 27.50. 30.76. Okay, it isn't going anywhere until it gets off of Comex. Yes, there's demand. And people are getting frustrated because these idiots keep saying, "Oh, it's about to go. The supply is limited. It's going to go." It's not going to go anywhere. It goes once Comex gets blown up, because Comex is the one setting the price with the derivatives. That's how the price is established, not on supply and demand, not on if if, like I said, if I bought a ton at $32 an ounce, it wouldn't change the price. And right now, China's doing that. They go right to the mines and they're paying $75 an ounce, and it doesn't change because this is a COMEX price, which is price fixed. So it isn't going anywhere until COMEX blows up. They're very short on supply. I think when the supply goes, COMEX goes. So we are real close to it, but not until the fat lady has sung are we going to get our high silver price. Now, it is much higher than they show. That's why we go buy it, because we know it's a $1,000 ounce of silver we're getting for $30. Where do I fill my card up? Uh, so I give you that price because of the way it's being suppressed. They keep shorting and shorting, and we know if the shorts weren't there, it would easily be 1,000. As you can see, a Mantle card for 75,000, Rolexes for 100,000, Bitcoin for 100,000. How the fuck is silver $30? So we know it's worth a lot more. The question is getting Comex out of the way. And we're not really sure. Again, it's torn between them keeping the price down so we stay out of silver and gold, and we buy stocks and get into the bank and mutual funds and stuff, and Russia and China wanting to buy it cheap, which is the other reason they're keeping the price down. So we can all go to the store and buy it for 30. Um, Yankee Doodle Dandy, I was watching, people are selling their gold and silver, and he doesn't understand why the price isn't going. He's talking about the price, which is price fixed. Um, it's got nothing to do with it. It's got nothing to do with the market and supply and demand. Nothing. What the only thing it does with the market is we understand it's much higher. Gold is got to be $20,000 if you just let it go, and the same with silver's a couple thousand. So we know that, so we'll go buy it because we know it's not an accurate market price. The supply is way low and the demand's way higher for these prices. But if you're going to price fix them, then yeah, that's where we're at. But they're going to get caught on their derivatives, which is why they keep the price down, as well as these other countries buying it cheap. That's what's happening. But none of these guys get it. And they all say, "Oh, and at this day, it's all going to go." And this, it's not. It's not going until we kill Comex. So don't be impatient and don't be like, "Oh, that," and then don't sell it. My God, you're selling $1,000 ounce of silver for $30. You out of your mind? And why are you selling it? What is it? You need money? Okay, you need to pay bills. You need to eat. I understand that. Don't just sell to sell, because you don't want to get on the Titanic again. You don't want to get back into this. Um, this lady comes up to me at work. I don't know her. I kind of walk by her desk because she's in my area, but I've never talked to her. And she makes some comment. We start talking gold and silver. We start talking about something else, and then we start talking about gold and silver. She says, "Yeah, I just took my silver into the shop and sold it. It wasn't doing anything." And I said, "Well, that's a big mistake. You just sold $1,000 an ounce silver for $30." She looks at me, and I'm like, "Yeah, you did." She says, "Well, I talked to my financial planner." And I immediately knew he would never tell her to hold gold or silver. He's going to say, "No, I would sell that and get into stocks or get into real estate trust." She said, "Well, I bought some annuities." So she sells her silver for annuities, which is paper monopoly money. And I just looked at her and said, "You just made a huge mistake. You don't know what you're doing." I says, "If I were you, I would go back to my financial planner and ask him about gold and silver. And then I'd fire him because he doesn't care about your best interest. He cares about his commission." I said, "This guy should be fired. He is not advising you properly. You should be in gold and you should never have sold your silver for annuities. Oh, you'll get 9%. And you're not getting that. I can imagine the conversation. Well, you're not getting 9% in silver. You're getting, but I can give you an annuity. Yeah, but you're still in dollars. You're still in something that's worthless. That's the kick." Okay, so if we go on to here, if we scroll down, it's going to say the percentage gains. So gold has gained in 30 days 3.5%, in 6 months 12%. But really more than that, look at here, 33%. But it's more than that because you're not in dollars, which are constantly losing value. So let's go to silver. And silver is a little bit different. In 6 months, it's gained 4%, but in a year, it's gained 35%. Did he show her that? Does she know she made 35% in a year? And, in a month, she's made 2.6. But the fact is, this keeps losing value every day. This is worthless. My broccoli was $2.99 for the bunch. That used to be maybe a dollar, maybe $1.19. $2.99 for broccoli. That's the dollar going down, and that's the other thing people don't realize. It's not prices going. The dollar's losing value. That's why you cannot measure inflation by dollars or percent. It's anybody doesn't know what the fuck they're doing because you can't. I don't measure inflation. I'm telling you, inflation's probably 100%. It's much higher than 2 or 3%. That's just fantasy. The government not trying to show you how stupid they are. But that's what it is, right? So we're printing the money, so the money's worthless, and if the money is worthless, we'll say it's 2%. But by holding the annuity, you're holding dollars that are worth nothing. So let's say you put $10,000, you're getting 9%. But the $10,000 isn't worth anything. And then 9% is not going to be worth anything. But if you're in gold or silver, you're not losing money in the gold and silver, right? The gold and silver is not going down in value. And then you're going to get a big return. Like on gold, it's been 12% for 6 months, but you haven't lost anything in the money, and the value of the gold hasn't gone down, it's gone up. So this is the big thing. And that's what I'm trying to tell her. He's fucking you because the dollar's losing value and you're getting 9% versus you're getting 6% in gold or silver. However, you're not losing value in the money. So I told her, I says, I'd ask him, call him up, ask him about what his opinion on gold is. And she says, I says, but it's not on the menu. It's like going to Chinese and ordering pizza. It's not on the menu. You can't get it. So this guy's never going to put you in gold because he gets commission off of putting you in stocks or annuities, which are life insurance and things like that. That's where he gets his commission, and that's how he keeps his job. He'll never put you in gold. She says, I bet he has gold. I said, I'm sure he's got gold. Anybody that has any brains understands to get out of the dollar and go into gold and silver because it's the only lifeboat. So she said, where's that gold store? I says, I told her where it is. And she says, I'll be back. I says, yeah, you need to get out of it. It's funny when I start talking to people, there's no skin in the game for me. I don't get a commission if she buys gold or if she sells her stocks or whatever she does. I get no commission on it. So I'm looking at her like this guy just fucked you over. He told you to be in he told you to sell your silver and put it in an annuity, and you listened to him. I said, you got to fire him. So I'll be curious what she does in the next few days. I'm sure she'll come over and say, yeah, you're right. And I'm in the gold. She was already like, where's that coin store? It's a jewelry store, but they also have the gold. And that's where I always go. So she's like, where's that at? And you can see the light go on. But I give that Titanic story, and that's it. It's a beautiful story. So don't a lot of people are selling their silver. I don't know if it's Trump's in office and they're going to get into Bitcoin, but he didn't do anything with Bitcoin. Like he did all those executive orders. He didn't do the Bitcoin one. I think he's smart enough to understand that he's fucked and he's got a $36 trillion debt. And he's got raging inflation far higher than 2%. I think he kind of understands that, but then he needs gold as his only out. Bitcoin is not an out because it's not what people own. People own Bitcoin, Bitcoin's not owned by the government. And the government really doesn't want competition. They're doing this to let it get taxed, right? They're figuring people will start selling their Bitcoin at $100,000 and he can tax it. And that's how he's going to hopefully pay off the debt or whatever. I think that's his plan, but nobody sells Bitcoin. It's not money, so nobody really sells it because they think it's going to go to $1 million, even though to be $1 million will be monopoly money. The dollar won't be worth anything. It's almost gone now. So I think when the dollar goes is when COMEX goes, is when Russia, China start valuing gold at $10,000, $15,000 an ounce, silver 1,000 or so. People look at you funny when you say silver 1,000 when it's only been 30 and 50 because they have no idea about derivatives. So I think it's only been $50 an ounce. But that's not real. That's not the real price. That's always it's always kept down by derivatives. I said, so it should be a good 400 or 500 an ounce at least now with all the inflation, but they're keeping it suppressed. And so that's the key is what you got to understand. And you guys do is it's not a real price. It's not a market price. It's suppressing. But the problem's going to be with Trump with these tariffs, the market will get fucked because the costs will go up, but you can't raise prices because we're the market. So if you raise prices on tuna to $10 a can, I don't buy it. Simple as that. Oh, you want to raise peanut butter to $10 for a little jar? I won't buy it. I don't need it. I can have regular butter. I don't need muffins. I can eat cookies, or I could eat, broccoli and cauliflower. So people don't get it. There's enough options and choices that you can't just, and if you keep raising it, we just eat less. We figure out a way. That's why I told Daria to go to the store and I gave her some extra money and go buy food. But it's a temporary thing. It might last her 2 or 3 months, but then what do we do? So she's keeping an eye on the prices, but they're going up in Russia also. And they're having a bitter cold, just like we're having here. So what can people do? I mean, that's where gold and silver come in because they go up in value as the dollar drops. So therefore, it's an ounce of silver buys you, 20 cauliflowers. It's always going to buy you 20 cauliflowers. I think that's the point that Alligator and Egon try to say, like, it would buy a suit in the Roman times, it'll buy a suit now. And I go, no, that's not right because you don't know what the real price is now. You knew what the real price was in Roman times. It'll buy a lot more than one suit. It's going to buy a house, not a suit, right? So that's the counter of it. As the prices go up, because the dollar's losing value, the gold and silver prices should be going up, also equaling the food prices, and that's you're out. Oh, I got an ounce of silver. I can go buy all the food I want because the food's not going up higher than the silver price. It shouldn't. And that's what'll catch on. Silver will jump to 1,000 an ounce once we kill the COMEX. So I don't know how long JP Morgan intends to do this or how long. I think once the silver's gone and Russia and China can't buy it anymore off of COMEX, it blows up because COMEX, to do these derivatives, you have to have some physical. And once it's gone, that blows it up. So I think that's coming very quickly. And then we just need competition. We need other pricing, which is what Russia's doing with the metals exchange. It's diamonds and precious metals to come up with the prices. And once they do that, then Putin's price will be $100 for silver and we'll be at 30. No, we can't be at 30. We got to be at 100 also, because everybody would buy it for 30 and sell it to Putin for 100. So only an idiot would keep it at 30 if Putin's at 100. So that'll definitely go up. So don't sell your silver now. You should never really sell, like when we're buying it, it's just because of the dollar. Now, as I said, and in the 1920s in Germany, they had to pay for World War I. They printed the Reichsmark, and it basically lost its value because they overprinted it. And then what did they do? They came out with the Deutschmark, and then everything settled down because now it's priced in Deutschmarks, not Reichsmarks. So getting the Reichsmarks out, they repriced everything in Deutschmarks, but it still wasn't backed by gold. So it only lasted a few years. And then Hitler takes over in 1932. And what does he do? He robs everybody's gold and silver. That's how it got in the Federal Reserve in New York. France and Spain and a few other countries realized what Hitler's doing, sent it to New York for a safe haven. What they didn't realize is the Nazis had submarines outside of New York ready to invade, probably to steal the gold, but they had problems with it, so they never got there. But that's why when you see Die Hard 3 and they in the Federal Reserve and there's all these countries are in there, that's why it was from World War II. But Hitler, when he took over, they didn't have any money. They were bankrupt. Now I see what's happening is the car companies. China wants to buy, I think it was BMW or one of those, Audi, one of the car companies now. China wants to buy it. So they flood the market with electric cars, which forces Mercedes and BMW and Audi to have financial difficulties. And now China's like, oh, we want to buy them. Well, that ain't going to work, China, because you're not Germans and you're not, I'll buy a Mercedes because it's class and, but if you're making it, no, I don't think so. They'll ruin the whole image of it. Made by China, and if they try to take it over, forget it. They won't know what they're doing. You can't beat the German workmanship. Now, those car companies were part of World War II. They did help Hitler build things. So that's what happened. But that's it with the gold. I'm going to cut this soon. So NFL playoffs. I keep nailing them. So I think we talked about this yesterday. So Philly wins 28-22. I got Philadelphia and Buffalo. I tell you over Baltimore because of Lamar. So we go in from what I see now. Philadelphia is 6.5. I think 47.5. Now Hurts is hurt. His knee's hurt. He got bent over. If he plays, he ain't going to be any good. And I don't see how they're going to stop things. So I don't know why the spread's going up. That's insane. These people next door are so fucking loud. KC 1.5. I think I saw some twos and 48 Allens and Mahomes. This is a very tough spread. I think it's KC Washington in the Super Bowl. I would have a hard time Buffalo going into Kansas City winning. Now, what I've been thinking about and rationalizing is what happens. Normally, the teams like KC, why do they always win the big games? And why do teams like the Lions lose the big games? Because KC dictates the game, they control the game, they're able to get first downs, keep possession of the ball, they don't turn it over maybe once, and they slowly, methodically keep moving on you. And then they score. So they basically take control of the game. And their defense is strong, so it's hard to get a good drive going against them. That's why defensive teams normally win the Super Bowl. Very rarely, like Brady, when he didn't have a number one or number two defense, he never won anything. That's when they would lose, and then they'd have the number one defense and they'd win, or Baltimore and Lawrence Taylor and the Niners had the one defense, and what was it, 88 and 89, and then the Bears with the great defense in 85. So what happens is you control the time of possession, you control the flow of the game. You march down the field, even if you kick a field goal, then they get it and they can't do much with it and they punt, you get it back. You slowly dominate the play. You just grind out first downs, you control everything. And that's what Mahomes does so well. He controls everything. Does Josh Allen do that? No. But I'm seeing it with Daniels. He's methodically did an 80-yard drive on the Lions where he just got first downs. Players were open. And he just controls the game. And Philadelphia is not able to do that. And Buffalo has moments where Allen runs. There's things like that. But that's it. That's why Houston got killed, because KC could slowly dominate them and slowly score here and score there and drive the ball. CJ Stroud, what did he do? He kept running out of the pocket. He'd go back and he'd do a 15-yard run, which you think is good, but it's not good. It's terrible, because if I got Stroud or Lamar running for 10, 15 yards, I'm winning. That's what I wanted him to do, because what I don't want to do is have Daniels throw a 40-yard pass on me. Daniels throw the ball to McLaren on a screen. He goes 70 yards for a touchdown. If you're running, you're going to run for 10, 15 yards, and that's it. You're not running the whole field, and that shows me that you can't read the defense and you can't throw the ball. That's the point. Nobody's open and you're running. And Stroud did it very quickly. He went back and started running, which was a mistake. And then that's what Caleb does. He just, as soon as he gets the ball, he dances around. So that's what some of these quarterbacks, when you see them running, it's actually a bad thing. So if you see Josh Allen running a lot, that's a bad thing. And you notice Mahomes doesn't run, and you notice Daniels runs a little, but they're designed. But he's such a good quarterback. He's a good thrower. You don't mind a little of it. And then Hurts is hurt. His knee's hurt. He'll be shot up, but he's not going to play well. He's not very good anyway. So that's what you got. Coaches. So the Lions' offensive coordinator goes to the Bears. I don't know what he's thinking. Oh, he gets Caleb. Well, Caleb's terrible. He should have waited and gone to Cincinnati with Joe Burrow and Chase. He'd have done something. But basically, New Orleans, I mean, all these, they don't know how to hire. They're just hiring idiots. This guy's an offensive coordinator. Has he ever coached before? No. Well, he doesn't know how to coach. You got to have somebody who's got some coaching experience. But then you get the Jacksonville coach and you see that he sucks. He's got coaching experience, but he doesn't win. Or Peterson won at Philadelphia, but he did shit at Jacksonville, although he had Trevor Lawrence. So what's he going to do? And a lot of these teams, Oakland, who, you need a John Madden, right? You need a good coach to win if that's your goal. So this whole coaching carousel, you can see it's just not going to work. This Ben Johnson at Chicago won't work. It was a little deceivious. It's sort of like Phil Jackson. He had Michael Jordan. So was Phil Jackson that good? Belichick had Tom Brady. Was Belichick that good? No. As soon as Brady left, he didn't do anything. And I heard Belichick has not signed his contract yet at North Carolina. So if you have a Brady or you have a Jordan, you look a lot better than you are. Well, this guy Johnson he had a really good offense to set the table with. Not that Goff's good, but he had some good receivers and he had some good running backs, and he's got a very good line. So anybody could be an offensive coordinator for that team and look good, look better than he is. If he's that good, Goff threw five. There was 5 picks in the game. Well, he threw 3 picks and a fumble, and then the other receiver, why he was throwing the ball is beyond me. Terrible play. I get when the halfback pass because he might run, but when the receiver, first of all, the receiver should be the one catching the ball, and I thought that was just stupid. It never was going to work. He should have thrown the ball away, but he doesn't know because he's a receiver. So I don't. Is it because he had such good talent that he was a good offensive coordinator, or was he a good offensive coordinator and made the talent better? And it's usually, if you have good talent, then he's not really that good of an offensive coordinator. I don't know how he's going to deal with Caleb because Caleb stinks. He doesn't know how to really do the defense. He's not a head coach. Is he going to be the offensive coordinator and the head coach, sort of like what Andy Reid does? Or is he going to be and then Belichick was always the defensive coordinator. That's why none of the defensive coordinators did anything when they got out. Or I remember when the Lions got Matt Patricia, you're like, terrible defensive coordinator, no head coaching experience, and he sucked. So that's a lot of it is, Dan Campbell saying, well, I'm not worried. We'll find something. You can't plug and play. There's different skill levels. You couldn't replace Vince Lombardi, and you couldn't replace Bill Walsh, and you can't replace Jimmy Johnson. They are not replaceable. Bill Parcells. These guys are not replaceable. So you think you're just going to get rid of him and you'll just find somebody else. It doesn't work that way. There's very few good offensive coordinators out there. We watch the teams. They all run the same little plays, and it's monotonous and it's boring, and it never works. They always run plays. All right, it's 4th and 1. Let's run up the middle. And then they lose 3 yards, and they do it every time. There's no imagination to do play action passing to the tight end or post patterns, or, once in a while you get the flood the zone, which are good, a deep and a short and a deep, and they both run across, somebody's open. Okay, that's smart offensive coordinator, but we will see. But he's never been a head coach. Some people on the radio, some people were mad because he went to Chicago. Some people were mad that he left, and they said, well, it's life-changing money. I go, well, he was getting paid in Detroit. Don't tell me he wasn't making a few million in Detroit. I would imagine he was. Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinators, I think going back to the Jets, he used to play there. He's a terrible coach. Why would you think he'd be a head coach? I'm sorry. I don't see. He had a terrible defense. They sucked last year. In the last 6 or 7 games, they sucked. They gave up 40 to Buffalo and 30 something to Green Bay. Minnesota, they got lucky where they learned Darnell just blitz. But then here comes Washington. They give up 45 points. So you don't win without a defense. He's a defensive coach who's not a good defensive coach. And you're going to make him the head coach. What are you expecting? I think he'll be like the Tampa coach or Mahim or Morris or these guys. They can't coach. Just because you're a defensive coordinator doesn't make you a head coach. And then you're not even a very good defensive. Look at Steve Spagnuolo. As good as he is as a defensive coordinator, he tried head coaching and he sucked at it. He's a good defensive coordinator. This guy in Detroit, who just went to the Bears, is a good offensive coordinator. He's got a good offensive mind. He's not a head coach. He'll never grab the team. It'll be too easy on him because he seems like he's not a head coach, and he won't be able to control the defense. And then, he's stuck with the players he's got, which aren't very good. DJ Moore's good. Maybe Keenan Allen, you got a little bit left, but you're not running. You don't have that fast receiver that he had. He doesn't have St. Thomas that he had. He doesn't have the running attack that he has, and he doesn't have the quarterback he has. So I don't see him doing anything at Chicago. They're happy because they think he's going to run the same offense, but he doesn't have the same weapons, right? It's different having Magic Johnson or Larry Bird. Yeah, I'm a great coach then, but now you go to Caleb. Yeah, good luck with that one. So I don't see the Bears doing anything, and I think he made a big mistake. He should have stayed as offensive coordinator, and the Lions made a mistake. They should have signed him to a 5-year deal like Spagnuolo and say, we'll give you this much money for 5 years. But here's where they get cheap, and they don't. Look for the Lions to really go down because they losing both coordinators, and I think Chris Spielman's interviewing for GM jobs. So you lose both coordinators. You're not going to replace them. Well, the defensive guy you'd already replaced. The other defensive coordinator they fired. This guy took over, and he wasn't much better. I guess the GM doesn't know how to draft, but even though they say he does. Well, he takes a lot of guys from Alabama. Real difficult, right? And it still fucks up. If I'm the GM, I'm just getting guys from Georgia and LSU. That's it. Maybe some defense from Iowa and Iowa State, and that would be it. Now I'd be grabbing these defensive linemen from Ole Miss and Tennessee that were just wicked. That'd be my first couple picks. Many of those guys as I could get. But you can always get the quarterback or the receiver. The receivers you can get in the 8th round. You can get them free agent. The running backs, you got to be very selective on. The quarterback, you don't need a great quarterback to win as long as you have play action and you have a balanced offense. So anyway, the rest of these guys are just interviewing idiots that failed at other. Oh, Ron Rivera, yeah, he's a great coach. He did nothing at Washington, at Carolina and Washington. So I don't get why they think they're all of a sudden going to be good coaches. They're not. If they're a good coach, they'd win. Vince Lombardi came in. They had never been close to 500. They go 500 the first year, and then they go to the championship game and lose, and then they win 2 championship games. And, it's like Daniels. You either know it or you don't. Daniels comes in, first year, boom, going to the Super Bowl. That's the point. Caleb, well, he'll have to learn it. He'll have to learn how to read a defense and this. Give him 5 years. Daniel Jones, give him 10 years to figure it out. Either you got it or you don't. Daniels gets it. My guy Penix gets it, and Bo Nix gets it. They get it right away. So anyway, just understand that. So most of these coaches won't do anything. They're not good, or they would have been good, and the Lions will definitely be much weaker next year. First of all, they got lucky on offense and didn't get injured, and then their defense basically got injured, and it cost them. I mean, the defense they had, if Henderson and these others didn't get hurt, they would have been. Then they might have beat Washington, but as soon as their defense slipped, you don't win in the playoffs without a defense. Just the way it is, because you're playing elite players. That's why they win, and that's why they get into the playoffs. Philly's going to struggle this week with Washington. We'll have to check the weather and the injuries. Today's Tuesday. So we will see. That's about it. Don't sell your silver and your gold. The tariffs are going to cause a depression here, and the silver and the gold are going to go through, but understand it's COMEX. So a lot of people are getting frustrated and they're selling it, and man, they're a bunch of idiots. They don't get it. They don't get why it goes up and down. Just look at my example. I keep buying it, and I know it's cheap, and I buy more and more and more. I paid $27.80 for my Cougaran. I'm buying. I'm not selling, and I know it's just going to go up because all the BRICS banks are buying gold for a reason. And just understand the demand is huge, because all the paper, all this bullshit is worthless. It was worthless when they put it out because it wasn't backed by gold, and now they're printed it too much and it's worthless. And all these countries are going bankrupt. That should be your key. Oh, the UK and Italy and France and Germany and Spain and Japan and China, they're all going bankrupt. Romania, Hungary, Poland, they're all going bankrupt. So understand, they're all going bankrupt, and therefore it's coming here. It's coming to a theater near you. There's nothing we can do, because if they're bankrupt, they can't buy our goods and service. So we're going to be in a depression. But our dollar, we have to pay the $36 trillion debt. So we're fucked. So any way you look at it, we're fucked. And the only thing that can save us is gold and silver. That's what you realize. You got to get out of the dollar because it's got no value. And the only thing you can go in, your lifeboat, is gold and silver. So therefore, that's what you need to be in. Not selling it at 30 an ounce, but not being in stocks or Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we have no idea what it is. It's not real. And then the gold and silver is, and it can't be printed, and it can only go up in value in dollars, but eventually there's not a lot of it. So as everybody starts realizing their dollars are worthless and they start going into gold and silver, there's only so much supply, and then they got to pay more, and there goes the price. So we're close to that time. This is the worst time to sell your silver. Don't get frustrated. Well, it's 30, it doesn't move. It doesn't move because it's price fixed, not because there's no demand. There's a 4-year backlog on COMEX for silver. There's demand. It's huge. So don't think that. Supply and demand. If there's low supply and high demand, the price is high, and it'll get there. So just be patient. I gave you Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius. Be patient. You're in the right place. You've got the right thing. It's just wait for it. And it's coming very, very soon. Anyway, let's see what gold does. 27.48. Let's see if we get 2,800 this week. On our way to 3,000. On our way to 3,500. On our way to infinity as the dollar. We'll see what Trump does. Trump, I hear, is a gold guy, but I don't know. He talks Bitcoin, but that was to get elected. That's the problem with politicians. I was reading something in here yesterday about FDR, and he ran on free trade and low taxes, low government, gold standard. That's what he ran on. And then he did the New Deal, which was the exact opposite. Raised taxes, got us off the gold standard, big government, He did exactly the opposite. So what they promise you in the election does not necessarily what you get. Trump will do tariffs. Apparently, he will close the wall and kick the people out. Okay, but he really hasn't talked about how he's going to fix inflation, and he really hasn't talked about gold and silver, and nor has he confirmed the Bitcoin thing. We're going to be the Bitcoin country. We can't be the Bitcoin. It doesn't. It's not real. What do you mean we're going to be the Bitcoin? What does that mean? So anyway, keep that in mind. The FX rate between U.S. and Russia went from 110 to now 99 today. Something's going on that it's dropping versus the ruble, which is supposedly collapsed. We'll see about the Ukraine war. I think he's talking about stopping payments to the Ukraine. So hopefully that ends the war and I can finally go be with Daria already. A lot of these companies, just be careful. If you're working, you better start saving and buying gold and silver and being prepared to lose your job, because this tariff thing is going to be a massive depression. It's a domino effect. If I'm not working, I can't go shopping. And then where I go shop, got to lay off people because there's nobody in the store shopping. So it's just a continuous, I lost my job because nobody's buying my product. And then I can't go buy from others. So they start laying off. So it's a very dicey thing. That's what happens. We don't care about unemployment. We don't care about interest rates. We don't care about the inflation rate because it's based on you're printing the dollar. It's not based on prices. That's the effect, but that's not what inflation is. So keep that in mind. Anyway, have a good day. I'll try to be on a little earlier tomorrow. I was tired, as I knew I would be. When you relax on the weekend and then it's just getting up and getting out early, and then the cold. And I did go swimming and on the bike, and I did the 52-hour fast. I don't want to start eating cake and ice cream now because I did that. That's the whole point. Do it. Then I kind of stayed on the diet and stayed on the bike. So I ate pretty good today. A lot of veggies. Even the barbecue was fine. It was ribs and chicken. It was coleslaw and potato, which was fine. I didn't eat much. I ate the potato, but it was over 2 days, so it was fine. Before I used to eat the whole meal at once. Now I'm noticing I'm eating and okay, I'm full, and then I grab the meal. I do this a lot with Chinese. I eat a little bit when I get home. I'm hungry, but I'm really never getting that hungry because I'm either drinking water or I'm eating, but I'm not eating terrible foods, which makes me real hungry. And that's what I do. Anyway, www.teaserking.com. You get my email there. Pretty good week in football last week for a 3-1 with hitting Kansas City, Philly, and Buffalo, and I lost the Lions. I did have them over, but I did lose the Lions, figuring they're at home. They're the 1 seed. And I'm not really that surprised they lost. And we got a good look at Daniels, and they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's all I can say. All right. Have a good day. Let's keep our eye on gold and silver. Do not be selling your gold and silver. You buy it because they're keeping the price down, because it's not a market rate, and it's Comex and JP Morgan keeping the price down. That's why you keep buying it, because they're holding the price down and they keep suppressing it. So the price is really higher, higher, higher. And your question is when will the suppression end? Not you understand the suppression. And I'm saying it's bricks, and that's going to end it soon. So anyway, have a nice day, everybody, and try to stay warm. www.teaserking.com. Excuse me. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a nice night.